This is Note Taking Guide 6.4 for Math 1. Again, we're still in our geometry chapter, and we're starting to learn today about some angles and some of the rules that go along with angles. Before we can do that, though, we have to talk about some of the things that we vocabulary-wise need to know. So, array is it starts at a point and it goes with an arrow. So it has an end point on one end, it goes continuous in one direction for forever. So how would we name that? Well, usually array has letters on it like this, and we would call it AB with that arrow over the top of it like this. An angle is made up from two rays. It has this ray coming here and maybe a ray coming here. How would we name that angle? Well, sometimes we can name that angle by its vertex point, like this could be called angle B, and sometimes we're going to call that angle A, B, C, depending on how we're looking at that and what we're doing with it. The vertex point is that part of the angle where it comes to a point. So in that case, that would be vertex B up there. It's the pointed part of the angle. So the pointed part of the angle. So when those vocabulary words are used, just remember that that's what they're looking for here. So we're going to look at these pictures over to the side. We're going to answer the questions that there are about this. So it says, name the vertex of angle 4. Well, here's the angle 4 right here. The vertex of that is U, because that's the letter over there at the point. So vertex U. Name the sides of angle 1. Well, here's angle 1 right here. So to name those sides, we're just going to use two letters with a ray. So that would be XY with a ray over top of that. And then we can go XU with a ray over top of that. It says, what is another name for angle 2? Well, angle 2 is right here, which means we are going to name it by its vertex point or by three letters. So we could call that angle Y, or we could call that angle, we could go XYU because of the three letters there. And then it says, what's another name for angle UXW? From U to X to W. What's another name for that angle? Well, UXW, we could call that angle, in my brain I thought 3, and in my hand I wrote 1. So angle 3, we could also call that angle WXU. We could just flip it around the opposite direction. Okay, this is a checkpoint, so I want you to take a minute and try that one yourself. You can just pause the computer if you want to. Make sure that you understand how you're doing that. Come see me at my desk if you don't know what you're doing. And then when you're done doing that, you can unpause the computer and go on to the next screen. Okay, this next part actually talks about something called the angle addition postulate. What the angle addition postulate says is that if we have a whole angle that is cut into pieces, then we know that this angle plus this angle equals the whole thing. So the pieces of the angle add together to be the whole angle, which kind of makes sense. So when we're looking down here at this, it says find angle BAD. So we're looking from B to A to D, the whole thing. Well, we know this piece is 44 and we know this piece is 35. So we know if we add those together, we'll get the whole thing. So 44 plus 35 adds together to be 79. So that's going to be 79 degrees. All right, this next one says angle BAD is 85. So from B to A to D, the whole thing is 85. It says find CAB. So we need to find CAB. We need to find this little guy. So this time I have the whole angle, it's 85. I'm going to have to subtract the piece off that I already have. So I'm going to do 85 minus 29, and that's going to give me 56 degrees for that angle that I'm looking for. Two more examples of the same kind. Here it says if BAD is 67, so BAD, that's the whole big thing, is 67. Find X. Well, what do we know about these two angles? We know they add together to be 67, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 2x plus 43 equals 67, and we're going to just solve this equation. So we're going to start by subtracting that 43 over to the other side. So we get 2x equals 24. Get x by itself by dividing by 2. And then 12 divided by 24, or I gave you the answer. 24 divided by 12 is, I said it again, as the answer. Let me see if I can say this right. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Gosh, sometimes my brain just wants to give you the answer and not make you do the work. All right, one last problem on here. It gives us BAD. So BAD, the whole big thing, is 6x minus 13. And they give us the two little pieces that we know we have to add together. So I think I'm going to add them before I write them down. So 2x plus x is 3x. So I can add those together. And then I'm going to do minus 5 and positive 10, which would be a positive 5. And then I'm going to equal it to that 6x minus 13. And I just did it that way to actually save myself some space on my paper here that I'm writing on. I just didn't want to have to write it down and then combine like terms. So I decided to combine those like terms before I wrote it down. So my goal always is to isolate my variables first. So I'm going to subtract those 3x's over to be with the other x's. So here I get 5. On this side, 3x is left over when I do 6x minus 3x. And then I still have that minus 13 back behind. Again, my goal is always to isolate the variable first. So I got to get those x's alone. So I'm going to move that 13 by adding it to the other side. So 5 plus 13 is 18. 18 equals 3 times x. Divide both sides by 3. And I get x equals 6 for my solution. So you guys, a lot of algebra in today's homework. So if you're having trouble, please come up to my desk and ask me questions. I am more than happy to help you. Also, you guys, good luck on your homework and thanks for watching.